Hi everyone, it's Saturday and I just wanted to make a video to sort of give an overview of my impressions of living in a different location in Cairns after 1 month. It's been over a month now that I've been living in suburbia, and I will compare it to what life was like when I was living in Parramatta Park in a flat. So I've gone transitioned from a two-bedroom flat on the top floor to a house, a 4-bedroom house near the beach in Kewarra Beach. So a totally different place to live, a totally different experience, and the question is it better or not? Are the pros outweighing the cons? First off, I'll be optimistic and go through the pros of actually making this move. I've made a list here. Now, the first thing that comes to mind is it's a quieter environment. There's no doubt about that. Living in a flat, of course, you're actually next to your neighbours in the block that you're living in. But in the case of Parramatta Park, it wasn't just the block of flats that I was living in. There were also the commercial operations between where the flat is and Mulgrave Road, a very busy road. There's a number of retail outlets and the creche. So the combination of all those together added to the noise. And on the opposite side of the block of flats that I was living in was a block of holiday flats, and occasionally that could be very noisy because you'd have kids jumping into the pool and all this sort of stuff. But on top of all that, the actual sound that probably I hated the most was actually the sound of the maintenance guys going around with either blowers or whippersnippers or whatever. It was really loud, really loud. And even though in suburbia you get plenty of noise, which I'm probably jumping the gun a bit here and talking about things like lawn mowing and what have you, there's obviously lots of noise in suburbia, but it's nothing to the same extent as what I had to put up with in Parramatta Park. It's chalk and cheese. It feels like I'm in a nature reserve here because I can hear all of the animals, you know, the different birds and what have you. So it really does feel very much like it's a natural environment, which is fantastic. So I've got no problems there at all. So yeah, it was a good move as far as that's concerned. Another one that I would never have thought about, but it came to my mind fairly early on in the piece when I moved here, was that I could see the stars at night. It's because there's the visual pollution that you get from street lights and all that sort of thing is obviously pretty intense in central Cairns, but out here near the beach it's nothing like that, and you can actually see quite a number of stars. And you know, I've got lousy eyesight and I can see a stack of them, so I've got to get hold of my binoculars that I've let out to a friend and just get a closer look at it some nights. So it's quite amazing. So that was a bonus I wasn't expecting. Then just in general, just so much space. I just thought of another one I actually put on my list, but it came to mind when I was thinking about living in the flat. On the 3rd level, the problem is I had to go up those stairs, 2 flights of stairs, every time I left the flat, going down and coming up again, of course. Of course, here I have a house on ground level, so there's no issues like that. Mind you, the other side of the coin there is it actually is good exercise to go up and down stairs. And I think studies have actually found that it is good for your health. So I guess I've got other activities that are made up for that, like shoveling soil. That was pretty intense physical exercise, different to walking up and down stairs, but still it kept me honest when it came to physical effort. So yeah, it swings and roundabouts, I guess. Now another thing, obviously the space is fantastic because I've got a big block of land. But on top of that, the other thing that's really good about this place is that the neighbours seem to be pretty nice. I got a lend of a wheelbarrow from one of the neighbours. I gave him a bottle of red wine as an appreciation of it. I'm actually getting a four-wheel cart that I'll have as my own permanent fixture here for gardening, because gardening is going to be a big part of my life. It's something I was a little frustrated by when I was living in Parramatta Park. I just couldn't fully extend what I wanted to do with gardening. Now I've got a crap load of soil that's been delivered. I've just got to get some raised plant beds I could use for flowers and or vegetables. So basically, and I just got a big tree removed yesterday, which you can see the footage in the background, the rubber tree. Now that means that there's a whole plant section there, a vegetable patch that now has a lot more sun and light. So that's made a big improvement. One of the major reasons to get rid of the rubber plant was because of the root system. It was so extensive it would have caused problems for neighbours, and so it needed to go. But it does have that bonus of providing more light in the backyard. I've still got to make it up though with a few more trees around the periphery, but ones that are more suited to this area rather than something like a rubber plant, which can, the roots go everywhere, and that's not good. But yeah, neighbours have been great. The ones I've met so far have been pretty good, and there hasn't been any hassles. And I've just got to basically get rid of a dead tree because the ones next door to me are freaking out about the possible damage to their house. So that's got to be looked at. And unfortunately, we couldn't get that settled yesterday when the arborists were over. So the other thing is, I can grow my own vegetables, and I mean, in this post-COVID era, I think a lot of people are actually looking to have a bit more self-sustainability in their own homes. If they've got the land to do it, they'd like to basically be able to do things like that. It's going to save me money apart from anything else, apart from having my own veggies, which is obviously a good thing to do. But growing spinach is the #1 crop for me because I do eat a lot of it. But I want other plants as well, tomatoes for instance, and I've got a climbing pea, a snow pea plant seeds I haven't planted them yet. So there's a few things on the agenda. So apart from obviously just having flowers to beautify the garden. So there's a lot of work to be done there, and I'm just starting out with that particular project. And of course, you've just got to wait for the plants to grow, so you've got to have a little bit of patience too. But at least I've got all the soil and stuff, so I'm sort of there. And once I get my cart, I can take stuff around, and then I've just got to get some planters arranged. So that's the other big thing. The other thing about being here, the other big pro is I can relax outdoors. When I was in the flat, it was either noisy neighbours or it was the creche. There was always constant sound. It was very, very rare that I'd have an opportunity where I could just sit outside and without any great distractions like that. So that's a big improvement there. So that's one I expected, and it's one I'm getting. So it's great. Another thing is I don't have to worry about body corporate. Moving from a flat to my own place, body corporate's not an issue, but there are downsides. But I mean, body corporate is like government looking after you and doing all the maintenance stuff, the painting on the house or what have you. Now all that stuff I have to handle. I had the roofing guy around a couple of days ago to give an assessment of what needs to be done. It wasn't as bad as I was worried about. So that was good, but it's going to be out of my pocket when I get the maintenance done. And there is some maintenance to be done down the rear veranda area. So yeah, body corporate can be good, but it's also a pain in the arse. And I never really got involved in the politics of it, getting involved in the committee stuff and all that petty politics that you can get immersed in. So I don't miss any of that. But walk to the beach, that's an obvious one. That's nice. Haven't done it that many times, only about 3 or 4 times have I walked down to the beach, but it is a nice experience. And I will walk across to Clifton Beach and explore over there too. It'll be my next one, I think, so that'll be good to do. It's always there. I don't think I'll ignore it. I will make the regular trip there, but it might be only once a week, but it's just nice to know it's there, and you can get down there and have a change of scene if you really want. It's a beautiful walk down there. It's a lovely part of Cairns, just down by the beach, so it's really nice. Fresh air, that's a given. I'm not right next to the highway. I'm actually closer to the beach than the highway. It's about a 25-minute walk to Cook Highway, so quite a big buffer area. So presumably that the air quality is better here than what I got at Parramatta Park, where it was only basically the only buffer from Mulgrave Road, which is a really busy road, was just those commercial properties. So it was very close to there. Other thing about that is, of course, you get all the sirens as well, like police, ambulance, quite normal just to hear them at all times of the day and night. And it just doesn't happen here. It really does. And that's another thing, the refuse collection was constant, 7 days a week there. There's none of that, just normal collection every Tuesday, 1 day a week, and it doesn't last very long. It only, may disturb the peace for about a quarter of an hour at the most for the whole week. So yeah, no problems there. Much big improvement. And going to the shops, I mean, I used to walk to the supermarket and what have you. I can't do that now. I can walk to the local shops. There is an IGA if I need some emergency stuff, but I can't go to a fully fledged supermarket. The closest one I could walk to, and apparently they are building pathways. I looked at the budget for the council, and part of that is actually building a pathway to Clifton Beach from Kewarra. And that means you won't have to go along the beach. You'll have I presume it's going to be like a bike and walking path. But there's actually a fully fledged Coles just down the road. And I don't know how long it takes to walk there because I haven't done it yet, but I would say that 30 to 40 minutes might be possible. It's not a big deal though, because I've discovered that Coles have got this excellent delivery service anyway. So the times that I'd need to actually walk there would be virtually zero. Only if I'd say got a tricycle, an electric tricycle, that would be good as an option. But the delivery service is so good that I don't know if I'd bother. I mean, it's only cost me $2 to have my groceries delivered if I do it midweek. I mean, that's nothing for the convenience. And I think you get better quality produce that way. The greens and what have you have been top notch. So I think you get the pick of the bunch, literally, if you actually use the delivery service. So it's got these hidden benefits, plus the fact that if they haven't got something in stock, they'll substitute it for something more expensive and won't charge you an extra red cent. So these things I hadn't thought about, but yeah, it's a great service. So that's where I've adapted to living in suburbia. You can get stuff delivered, and it's not a bad thing to do. The other advantage is that it's much easier for me to get to Dan Murphy's from here. I've still got to get a bus, but because the Dan Murphy's is located in the Smithfield shopping centre, I can combine it with normal supermarket shopping and what have you. So that's an improvement for me, definitely a pro. And just skipping through the list here. Oh, another one there's another one you just wouldn't have thought about, but the bus drivers are very obliging in Kewarra Beach. It's the end of the route, and if you've got a lot of stuff there, if there's no one else on the bus, they might drop you off just near your place rather than stop. So that's a huge bonus too. They're pretty good that way. Like I say, the last time I was on the bus driver saw some people waiting on the wrong side of the road, realised that they probably had no idea which side of the road they should get on to get to the Cairns direction bus rather than just Kewarra Beach. he yelled out to them and told them to come across the road. And that was really nice of him. He went out of his way to make sure they were going in the right direction. So you just won't get that in big cities. So that was nice. Okay, so they're the pros, and now we'll go through the cons. And the thing is, with a house, there are hidden expenses. I've got major renovation ideas, but I spent money on the flat as well, so I don't think it's fair to sort of say that's necessarily a negative. Doing up the house, having a paint job and what have you, getting the lights changed. They did all that there as well. I got some floor tiles put in. In a basic renovation like that's fair enough, but the hidden expenses I didn't expect was having to get tree lopping done, because I told that the royal the palm in the front needed to be removed. The rubber tree needed to be removed, and then I discovered there's a dead palm tree up the back which also needs to be removed, which is a real pain in the arse. And this is not going to come cheap. I'm looking over $2,000, I think, to get all this stuff removed. So it's not an incidental expense, and it's one I just wasn't expecting. So that's the sort of thing that that can throw you when you buy a house, especially in the tropics, because you're going to get more wear and tear as well, more salt, air and what have you. So you've got to be aware of that. And you know, even though I was having a go at Body Corporate, one thing Body Corporate does include here is your house insurance. Now I had to pay that separately. That ended up being a little over $1,000 a year, which isn't too bad really for such a big house. But it still has to be paid, and in effect that's a partial Body Corporate charge, although it's not as bad as I thought it would be. It's quite reasonable compared to what some people are paying for their home insurance, which is just absurd. And this is another one you would never have expected, and it's related again to trees. Dead palm fronds on the ground, huge ones. I showed you one in one of my earlier videos. I never expected I'd have to collect all this crap that's being just deposited by the palm trees. So they are very messy. They might look good, but there is a cost involved, and that's a maintenance cost. There's even a service around where they put a bag outside your house to deposit all the dead fronds. So, you know, it's a real issue. So, and if you have to pay for that service. So, luckily the tree loppers cleared up a few of the dead ones that I had recently. And dead palm fronds take forever to decompose, so that's the other hassle. Maybe in a compost bin it might happen more rapidly. I've got to try that out and see how we go. And of course, being out suburbia is a little isolated. I haven't felt the pinch particularly badly. I don't see as many people probably as I did when I was in Parramatta Park, but I've got to say that it really hasn't been a huge downside for me. Not at this stage. Maybe it'll get to me later. You know, bringing that in, as far as social interaction is concerned, I don't really have a local pub to the same extent that PJ's. But I think it took about 20 minutes or so to walk to PJ's. Here it's going to take me probably about 30 minutes if I want to go to the Trinity Beach Tavern. The other thing about that is I don't have a discount card for the Trinity Beach Tavern. They've supposedly got a happy hour between 4 and 6, but I've never paid those happy hour prices. I'll still have to test the waters with that. Yeah, I don't. The pub isn't as close. I mean, I could go to one in Smithfield when I'm doing my shopping, I guess, but I've got to keep my hours very restricted shopping at Smithfield, because I want to avoid the kids coming home on the bus. It's a pain in the arse. It's best to be avoided. So you got to pick your right times of the day to get on the bus too. So anyway, that's. Yeah, the other downside I wasn't expecting, another one totally from left field, is I couldn't get to sign up as a patient at the local GP. They just are not taking on any new people. And the same applies to the Apple Tree GP clinic at Smithfield, the only one that's actually in the Smithfield shopping centre. They also are not taking on any new sign-ups. So it's all part of the COVID thing. Hopefully it's a short-term thing, COVID and the vaccine thing, but it's a consequence I would never expected. So basically, if I want to get myself a script, I'll have to go all the way to Cairns to do it. So it's a pain. Other thing I didn't expect, well, I was warned about this one actually. So that's not quite true. My cousin told me that you can expect a lot of dogs in suburbia. And boy, was she right. There's a lot of dogs. And generally not much of an issue. It's only when one dog goes crazy and starts barking, he'll set off a whole lot of other dogs. There's a very high density of dog ownership in this particular area. So one dog going crazy will set off the rest of them. So you'll have a whole chorus of dog song, which is not great, I've got to say. And just lastly, the last thing that I didn't expect was no office works at Smithfield. Smithfield's a big shopping centre, but it doesn't have everything. Of course, the other problem with Smithfield Shopping Centre is that you have to basically do the walk across the Cook Highway to get to Bunnings, so it's not the most convenient thing there. Like I say, it's great to see the council build that pathway to Clifton Beach from Kewarra. That's great, but they really need to have a pedestrian overpass that connects Bunnings and other businesses to the main body of shopping at the other side of the highway in Smithfield. It's crazy. Why there is not one pedestrian bridge is beyond me. I just think there's such lousy urban planning, and the council really need to look at themselves on that one. So there you go. That's basically all the pros, all the cons. Now, to tabulate them all together, the final outcome for me is definitely the pros outweigh the cons. No doubt about it. Qualitatively, the pros way ahead. I'm much happier living here after a month. Hopefully I'll feel the same way in 12 months' time. But right now, I think I made the right move. And the other little bonus is I think the prices of the houses are still going up. I mean, it's absurd. I think I did pretty well in retrospect, because I know for a fact that the capital gain in a flat is lousy compared to housing. And that's just another little bonus. So even though I might be spending a lot of money on renovations, you know, it's money well spent. And I will, if I was forced into having to sell, which is the only way that I will be selling, because I just don't want to leave here. I don't want to go through another purchase and sale of a property. It's a pain in the ass. But if I did, at least I've got that happening, that there's going to be capital gain. So that's nice to see. So, yep, it was a good move. I'm very happy with the choice. Definitely the right move, and no regrets at this stage. So I hope you enjoyed this little summation of my lifestyle summary. Please give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, comment on what I've said, and consider subscribing to my channel. Really appreciate that. So thanks for your time. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch up with you soon.